It's always surprising to me how many teams out there don't have any way to know if their code is healthy. They basically depend on customers complaining or something. So I recommend not doing that. How many of you out there have a deployment process that says whenever you deploy to this environment or deploy to production, please go to this dashboard and verify that everything's okay? And then my next question is, how many times do you think your coworkers actually do that when they deploy? It's one of those things where if you have a developer supposed to do something, but they don't really want to do it, you're fighting a losing battle. As a manager, you're fighting a losing battle. Find a way to automate it so you don't even need to have that fight. So going back to how we use Sleuth for that, and we have a number of different impact sources. So we have a very simple one, which is our 500 error rates on ALB. What this is doing is this is going out to CloudWatch and looking for 500 errors. And when they happen, it's going to run that through an anomaly detection algorithm. That's a Sleuth thing to tell you if that's unhealthy or not. I'll give you an example of one that's a little bit more populated. Sadly, our errors is probably going to have a bit more data. So you can see that generally speaking, we have 0, 1 errors. But every now and then we deploy something that causes a bunch of errors. And what you can see here is that Sleuth has detected that and has figured out these are outliers and has probably marked deployments as unhealthy because of this. So those are two that we really like to use. So if you're using PagerDuty or OpsGenie or one of those incident management or alerting tools, you can also feed that into Sleuth to know when these different incidences are happening so that that can be tracked as unhealthy period, which then can blame a code deployment, and that's where you get your change failure rate. I'll kind of close on this one because this is one that I kind of like. And this is also one that causes us all kinds of headache. If you look at our numbers, you'll see that our MTTR number is quite high. But the reason is because we're tracking this build. This is a build, a smoke test that runs on production every 4 hours. Fortunately, this smoke test can be flaky. But it is something we want to fix because it is really useful to have that smoke test that's always running. So you can point Sleuth at a build that's running to know. So that's a really useful way. So instead of having to pay somebody to constantly test their application, make sure it's working, we automate that test, and then we use Sleuth to suck in that information so that it can be associated with the build and let us know on Slack when things go unhealthy. You can kind of see how all the different pieces start to come together.